Hello ELT132, this is Roger Young, and this video deals with digital arithmetic, and specifically it's going to deal with subtraction. I don't even think I wrote that word down, right? But I'm sure you all are just going to write sub. You understand what that is. So the rules in the textbook I put right here for you, okay? So I'm going to do this the same way I did addition. I have three examples here, right? We have A, and then we have B, and then we have C. So let's do A first, and let's just do it together to get you used to this, right? So the way I'm going to go over this is I'm not going to reference these rules, and we're going to look at these rules after I'm done, okay? So when you first look at this, you're subtracting two numbers, and even in decimal you cannot subtract a 1 from a 0, right? You're going to have to borrow to do that. Now in binary, when you borrow, the column to the right, is basically worth 2 of what you have on the left. And let me show you this by example. This column is the ones column, isn't it? I'm going to write a 1 up here. This is your 2s, this is your 4, and then this is your 8, right? So if we're going to borrow here, we're going to take this 2s column. That 1 is going to become a 0. Remember, we're talking binary. It can only be a 1 or a 0. But since it's in the 2's column and we're moving it right here, that's basically 2 1s, right? Well, one of the 1s, I should draw a line up like that, is consumed here, right? Because you're subtracting 1 from there. So what happens? It leaves you with a 1 left over, doesn't it? Now, if you have 0 subtract 0, well, that's obviously going to be 0, right? 1 subtract 0, well, that's going to be a 1. 1 subtract 1, that's going to be a 0. Now, let's just go over and look at the rules real quick, okay? So 0 minus 0 equals 0. Well, we did that right here. This was a 0, this was a 0, it's equal to 0. That makes sense, right? 1 minus 0 equals 1. Well, here you have a 1, you subtract a 0, it equals 1. 1 minus 1, that's 0, right? 1 minus 1 equals a 0. The confusing one is this one, and that's what I showed you in the very beginning, right? You take a 0, if you have a 0 and you're subtracting a 1, in that case you have to borrow. In this case we had a 1 right next door, so we simply crossed it out, made it a 0, and that's equal to 2 1s in the column right to the right of it. And since we were subtracting 1, one of the 1s here got consumed when we subtracted 1 from it, so those go away, and that leaves a 1 left over. All right? Now, let's do problem B. And I'm not going to pause this yet because this could be a little bit confusing. In this case, we're starting out the same. We're subtracting 1 from 0, right? Can you do that? No, you can't, right? You have to borrow. Well, guess what? You can't borrow here, can you? You can't borrow here. You can't borrow here. Hey, we can borrow from here. So let's do it. This 1 is going to become a 0. We're going to have 2 1s right here, right? Well, this one we're going to take, and that's equal to, I should have drawn this, well anyway, and this is equal to 2 1s as well, right? Well, this one goes away, and then this is equal to 2 1s. going to get rid of one of those ones. This is equal to 2 ones, right? We just did that all the way along. In case you can't read my writing, I'm going to write it over here. So right now, this is a 1, this is a 1, this is a 1, and this one right here is 1, 1. I assume you can read that. So we're going to subtract 1 from there. So one of the 1s is going to get consumed when you subtract 1 from it. That leaves 1 left over, doesn't it? Now, we have a 1 here. 1 subtract 0. We know what that is. That's a 1. 1 subtract 1. That's going to be a 0. We have a 1. Hey, what's happened? We don't have anything here. So this is a case when you're going to want to do what? You're going to want to pad it with zeros. That's what we're doing. Remember, it doesn't change the value of this number because it's on the left side, right? So 1 subtract 0 equals 1. And this just stays 0. So, actually, when I was doing the borrowing, I apologize. I should have actually marked through each one of these as well, because they aren't zeros. I hope that didn't confuse you. So that is the subtraction that's just performed here, right? So at this point, try problem C, okay? And pause the video, and then start her back up, and then we'll go over it. All right, everyone, let's take a look at problem C. 1 subtract 1, what's that? 0, right? 1 subtract 0, what's that? That's a 1, right? 0 subtract 1. We gotta borrow, don't we? Can we borrow from here? No. Can we borrow from here? Yes. So we're gonna cross this one out. This is gonna become a 0. This 0 is going to get crossed out. It's going to become 2 1s. Well, guess what? One of those 1s we're going to take. We're going to move it over here. Guess I should just draw a little arrow there. We're going to have 2 1s, right? Well, one of your 1s is going to be consumed with this one because you're subtracting. That leaves you a 1 left over, right? Bingo. You have 1 left here, so 1 minus 0 is 1. 0 minus 0 is 0. 1 minus 1 is 0. And 1 minus 1 is 0. There's your answer. So I hope this has helped you better understand the process of subtracting one digital number from the other. But as you can see, what I told you about subtracting, taking a 1 and then creating 2 1s to the right in the column next to it, that actually follows these rules right here. All right? Again, I think 1 minus 1, 0 minus 0, and 1 minus 0, these 3 rules are pretty straightforward, right? It's just like decimal. The only one really you have to think about is this one. It's how to borrow. And that's where you employ that method I showed you. All right, everyone. I will see you shortly in class. Thank you.